Okay. So today we'll talk mostly about what I want you to do for next week. We'll talk mostly about forums. We'll talk about text, and what I mean by text is we're going to look a lot about input forms and what people are asked online, right? You go to websites, they're always asking, fill this out, do this, do that. They want to interact. What kind of interaction do you have with your customer or your user? And we'll talk a little bit about being afraid. Right? Some of us are afraid to give our data out. I think this was kind of a talk that we had. Who made this one? I'm sorry. Anybody claim this one? Oh, she's not here right now. Okay. She was talking about how the user would get to the first screen they'll see is this. I'm just like, well, you got to be very careful. This is a big no-no in the world of design today, at least user interfaces, having people have to sign up just to get to your content. It's a stumbling block. Even before I see what the content is, right? So you need to give them a little bit, then ask them to sign up. Don't make them sign up first before they can even get to the content. Okay, so just be aware of that. Don't give them a stumbling block. Give them a little bit. It's almost like using the pay. What am I trying to say? In app design, right? Download the free app, but if you want some of the features, you gotta pay, right? So it's the same kind of concept there. So yeah, that's kind of one of the biggest. Please don't make me. Now I know some apps make you do that automatically, like Facebook or Pinterest, right? You can't really get to Pinterest sometimes without signing up. Like if I just go into Pinterest, sometimes I don't know. It depends on what I type in. Yeah, see Pinterest, you go here, but the way they can get away with this because people know what Pinterest is, right? It's more of a hey, I already know what this pretty much is, and so, if it's something that's common like Facebook, right? Everybody on the whole damn planet knows what Facebook is, so you can get away with that. But if you're a new, small kind of app thing or website or something, don't give me a stopping block right at the beginning. Okay. You can get to Pinterest if you want. If you go Pinterest and then hit the / and type in Pinterest again. Nope, if I spell it right, B-R-E-S-T. I found if you type in Pinterest.com Pinterest, I think you can get to the content. Yeah, and you can start looking at things without having to sign up. You can get past that. I don't know, whatever. Pinterest. But as you start clicking on things, then it starts asking you to sign up. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think of Pinterest? Anybody use Pinterest? What would you use Pinterest for?
I don't like to log in all the time, so I don't use it.
Afraid to log in because they're tracking you. What am I clicking on? What am I liking? The other thing is you can get a plug-in and put it in your browser, right? There's an extension you put in your browser so that pin shows up, and as you go around the web and surf stuff, you can just pin it, and it automatically pins to your board, right? These are boards, and so you can get a plug-in for your browser, and then, because I've had that in the past, I don't know, I have an account somewhere. So you're afraid sometimes that you sign up for things and you forget you signed up for them. I don't know. Pinterest. Yeah, see, they start coming up with that as you start searching. Okay, let's get to kind of what I want you to do for next week. So, what do you need to do this weekend, basically? So you should be working every weekend. I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you're gonna want to, you need to practice as well. Those of you who are new to Photoshop, Illustrator, or any of these apps, you should be watching YouTube, following tutorials, learning as best you can. You know, the beauty of learning the tools like those digital tools is that you'll be faster and able to do things a lot quicker. And then, you know, it's just, and then once you find that you're able to do something faster, you'll get better at it and so on. Like I remember the day I found the split layer feature inside of After Effects. When I found the split layer, and I just discovered it just by playing with the software, it changed my life. I was able to complete the things I was trying to accomplish in 1/3 of the time I was trying before, right? And just finding a little feature like that as you go through, and you're just like amazed. Oh, learning how to duplicate a group of content inside of Photoshop that day was like, wow. In fact, I remember Photoshop before they even had layers. We used to have to do things before there was even layers. It was painful. In fact, the first time I taught Photoshop was '94, and there was no layers. I was teaching people to make wrenches. I was teaching them to do like the metal look, and there was no layers. So you were able to select something. So we drew one side of a wrench, and then we selected it, and then we copied it and pasted it. But again, it was on the same layer. There was no layer on top. And so it was just automatically merged together. But we did make some good wrenches. So in this class for next week, you know, you started your kind of map here. And in the video, they talk about a paper prototype and this video here and how they use paper prototypes. Now, I don't expect you to make a paper prototype, but I do want you to have your flow chart for next week. If you haven't completed one today, you can add on to it. I'll give you a little time towards the end there. And what I want you to do is talk to people today. Maybe somebody can walk around and you explain your flow to them. But really, I think one of the things I got from the advisory board last night, you know, everybody's like, oh, we got to get the people to work with each other. So I don't know, maybe you can explain your flow chart or your flow to another student in class. But I want you to either take a photo of your flow, paper flow, and include that in your final proposal. Okay? So you should have a photo. Maybe you revise it today. We were talking about personas for 2 weeks now, last week and today. You should have a persona in your final project. You should have at least 3 personas in your project. Your persona should have a photo of the person. It's just a generic, just go to Google or find one, okay, that you can use. How do I find royalty-free pictures? Well, just as you're searching, I like Flickr better than Google because it's a little bit more straightforward. So if you go to flickr.com, and hopefully you don't type in young woman and it comes up with porn, I hope not, or something like that, but whatever, you type in young people, how about that? And once you type in something and you go over here where it says any license, of course, if you don't know, we already talked about the Creative Commons. If you don't know, you should read that and know what Creative Commons is. Commercial use allowed, commercial use, modification allowed, commercial use and modifications allowed. I know I've already shown you that, so maybe you can go there. I don't know, maybe this is not the best young people. What should we type in? Male, 25 years old. Maybe that's your persona. 25-year-old male. That doesn't come up with anything, does it? I don't know. Don't use Flickr. Use Google. Find a picture that you can use is what I'm trying to say. I don't know how to find a picture. Overview. You should write an overview of the person, which should include age, gender, kids, married, job, and a list of why they would come to your content. Okay, so include an overview. You saw some samples from what we talked about last week. And then last thing in your persona, you should have a user flow or a scenario, I think they called that, right? Remember scenario in some of the reading? How would they search on Google to find your stuff? They type in your web address. In fact, that's if you look at the matrix on Google Analytics, you can see they give you that information. Was it a direct link? Was it a link from another site, a referral? So here, the three things that Google gives you when you're looking at the data on Google Analytics is direct link. Did they type in your address, right? Your domain name. Second one is a referral. Did they come from another site to your site? And of course, the third one is, did they search on Google? And what did they search on Google to find your site? So Google actually gives you all that information. I mean, it's kind of cool with getting all that. It's kind of scary because Google knows everything about you. But, especially the referral, because I can tell what site somebody came to my site. So you can see who's putting your address on their site, because Google will tell you that. Hey, they came from this page to your site. So, maybe you include that in your user flow. My site was listed on, the most, I don't know, something else or whatever. How do they find your site? Where did they go? And what I meant is, where did they go? What pages did they go to? First, they went to the home page. They read the article. They clicked on donate. And what was their goal? Hey, I got some money out of it. So you just a short few paragraphs. That's what you should include in your persona for your final. But you should include it next week so we can read it. So next Thursday, come in, make sure you tell us what your persona is. And then drawing, I want you to start thinking of drawing a wireframe of your, and so in the past I've had students do what we call digital wireframes, where I would go in and basically a wireframe is what I'm looking for you is not to do digital wireframe. I want you to draw on a piece of paper what your site will look like, as far as placement of content. You'll notice in the video, if you watch that, they talk about, little pictures like this. What is the text and where it will be placed? What is the navigation? Where is it located? Is there a button to do something on there? Whatever. But one of your drawings I want to include is the a sign up or connect or share, because that's what we're going to talk about right now. And so. I have some videos about people that draw. I think it's more important, and specifically like last night in our advisory board, people are just like, they would much rather see a drawing than you sitting in Illustrator making little boxes with little lines. They would because it's much easier and quicker to explain your concepts on a marker board even, or on a piece of paper than it is to sit there and spend a half hour in Illustrator trying to mimic something like this. So what I'm looking for you to do is draw a detailed drawing of what, and they could just be boxes, squares. Watch the video that I have listed there of the guys from England. They're from England, I know. And, and I want you to draw on paper. Just take a photo of it. Do it at home. Take a picture of it. You don't have to do it here. This weekend. You don't want to watch the Raiders or losers. Right? 49ers? Maybe you can watch those. New quarterback, right? No? I'm excited about the new quarterback. Sharks? Tonight? I need to start watching hockey. Hockey Town. Okay, so think about drawing some layouts, watch the videos, and take some pictures of it and bring it in for next week. That's what I want you to practice this weekend, okay? Okay, let's talk about buttons. Buttons. Buttons, buttons. Who's got the button? You remember that from the 80s, don't you? Or in the 70s, right? No. That was a famous 70s book about LSD, where they put LSD in one of the drinks and at a party, and nobody knew who had it in their drink. And the quote was, "Button, button, who has got the button?" Oh. Yeah. Back in the 80s, Ronnie Reagan made us read books like that so we could be against drugs, right? Nobody remembers those days. Okay, button, button. How do we connect? Well, you connect with forums. I like to use the word connect. And what I mean by connect is we're not necessarily signing up for things anymore. Back in the days it was hey, give us your email address, right? Give us your email address. Now, we don't even need that anymore. We can find out who you are by just your likes, right? Just pushing a like button or, something like that. Where in the past, before the technology was so advanced as it is today, you would ask somebody to sign up for something. People don't even need to sign up for anymore. What do you think they give you? Well, the reason why they give you sign up with your Facebook account is so that they can track your information that you're doing through Facebook, right? A lot of those websites they sign up for with your Facebook account, right? Because then they're keeping data through Facebook. So, form design. You know, the word form design is a a form is a natural thing, and let's just write the common ones on the board. Okay, let's just write some common form options on the board. And these are programming options, but they're still kind of common. The same thing, you can use them in app design as well. I know they're common, but these are form. Let me spread this out. I have lots of form options. Whoosh. Okay. So, of course, you all know the most common one is the box, right? That's input input text, right? In web design, that's the most common. I think. What's the code for a box? Is it just input? Then we have a bigger one. Usually that's called a text area. And of course, you can have one that's with dots in it up here. I forgot to mention that one, of course. That would be the password protected one, too. In code, it's usually measured in characters. Some of the reading, they talk about making it extra big. Some of the reading that I have listed, it'll show you how to make the code extra big so it's not default. One of the problems with the default in HTML, and the reason I'm talking HTML here, this is web kind of stuff. The default in HTML is not very high, right? It's kind of narrow. So a lot of the suggestions in reading is to make the box higher. Through code, you can do that. I'm just pointing out, one of the downfalls of the default things in HTML is the box is kind of skinny. It's measured in characters, and what I mean by characters is usually a letter. So when we do the coding in HTML, we measure in characters, usually how many letters. There's some reading in there about, how you should make the zip code box numbers of the zip code. Don't make it long like this all the way across, but make it whatever zip code is what? Five characters, right? So make it 5 characters. We'll get to the reading that has some good suggestions, like making the box bigger, making the box the size of the amount. Again, characters is there. The other thing is, let's talk about 1997, the most pivotal year on the planet. When you're programming this, make sure you put a limited amount of data that in there. It's called max length. Yes?
The 5 characters are code is only for the US. What about people in other countries?
So consider that as well. You might have to put in other countries. Do they use zip codes in other countries?
The London postal code is WC2N5BU.
There you go. It just depends on your audience. All their suggestion is don't give me a giant box that's 30 characters across just for a zip code. That was the reading suggestion. I'll show you the reading. I'm just writing it on the board first, and you can read. As far as the input box is concerned, do you use round edges? Do you use square edges? Do you have this and that? There's a whole bunch of different options in there. Again, text area is more than one line. Getting back to my 1997, that's what I was talking about. You make sure if you're doing the coding is to limit the amount of data can go in there, because 1997, I remember the day. It was in June, I believe it was. Yahoo went down. And this is before Google, right? Before Google, we used Yahoo. Okay, in 1997, Yahoo was king, or Excite, or whatever. But I remember the day Yahoo went down. I'm like, why can't I get Yahoo to work? Yahoo's not working. And we found out that a hacker discovered that Yahoo had forms on their website where they didn't limit the amount of data they can put in the form. And some hacker, very simply, just wrote a program that kept sending data to the form. Kept sending more and more data. Just was a random, code, and it just kept. And since they didn't have a limited amount of data that could go in there, how many letters can go in there, somebody just wrote a program that just kept putting more and more data, and it overwhelmed their server, and the whole damn system went down. So the moral of the story is that you can limit through programming that they, if it's an input box, nobody's going to put more than 100 characters in a single line like this. Maybe here you can limit maybe 200 characters or something, right? Multiple lines, text very multiple lines. So just pointing out, through programming, you should limit and think about hackers and things like that. Another common form element is, of course, the box, right? The checkbox, right? Checkbox. And why do we use a checkbox? For more than one element. They can check two things. Then, of course, the most famous one of all is the radio button, the round one. The round one's usually used for one option. They call it radio button. Radio button, usually for one or, eye color, gender, I don't know, whatever. Something that you limit to one thing. And then, of course, the pull-down menu, which doesn't work very well on mobile sometimes, right? And then, and that's called a select area, right? This is called select. Select. Was it select? What area? Select. Select. Just called select in code in HTML. I don't know. I haven't taught HTML in years, so which I'm going to start teaching next spring. Not here though. Select is where you get a pull-down menu like this. Then, of course, ever since mobile came about, we have the standard mobile ones, right? You have the standard Apple calendar one, right? And then there's a whole bunch of other ones and stuff. But these are the common ones that you would have. Most of us just deal with input boxes, right? Most things are input boxes. Let's look at some input boxes, and let's look at how to do that. Here's the best practices I was talking about. What makes an effective form? Oh, this is a scroll bar. User input fields, right? Radio buttons, sliders. I didn't talk about sliders. That's where people have, and you have to drag some. That doesn't work well on mobile. I try to avoid sliders. I mean, I know you can push with your button and slide like that. The downfall you have with sliders is that, your interaction with Android versus iOS, you need to code maybe differently and so on. So you run into challenges with funky kind of gesture things just because of the different platforms. I tried to keep it simple. Do I need to really drag something to do something? When they can just push a button, probably do the same thing. Might be easier. Field labels, that would be text that's next to the box or text that's in the box. I think a lot of people, they challenge, do I make a box? Do I make a box? All right, here's my box. Do I put name in there so that they know that their name needs to go in there? Sometimes you of course, they have the name outside here, you know what I mean? Or email. Do I have to put email in the box? And this would be even confusing, name. So, but you can't put name in there and the label outside. Do I put it on top? Do I put it on bottom? Well, it depends on your design.
Structure, this includes order of fields, the form appearance on the page, and logical connection between different fields. Action buttons, submit versus give us your data versus whatever, what are the words I use on there? And feedback after they do fill it out, what do you tell them? Thanks? Do you have them go to a page? A lot of the, I'm thinking of WordPress, because there's a lot of form WordPress. I use, of course, the most famous one of all, Contact 7. Anybody use Contact 7? Everybody loves Contact 7. It's the #1 form builder in WordPress. And of course, you can then, after the person hits submit, it automatically goes to a page, and you can write in whatever message you want. Thank you for your submission, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So Contact 7 is the most famous one of all. Almost like Rudolph. Rudolph, the most famous reindeer of all, right? I don't know. They have a whole bunch of charts telling you what kind of things. Do you put the required in? Label, 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 required, required, required. Look at that. Or do you put optional? So these are just suggestions, right? These are not required things you have to do. Here's the zip code one I was talking about, right? I don't know. This is their suggestion. Amazon. Do you make them type the email twice? They usually make me type the damn email twice. I don't know why these people are saying don't do that. Provide a show password option so that they see the actual letters, right? I think instead of just dots, did I type it correctly? That happens to me all the time. I swear I typed it in right, and it's still not working. Well, there, show them the letters and numbers or characters or whatever. Top Gun 95 with a, oh, that's a good one. I might use that one. Here's where they talk about don't slice data fields. They want you to put full name, first name, last name. I don't know. Well, it depends on your database, right? In my database, do I want to separate this? Right? Whenever you're making a form, you got to think about how the database is built as well. What kind of data and where is it going into the database? Right? Most databases are done in what? SQL. Very simple, you make a box, you have your data in there. In my database, do I want to separate the first name and last name? We'll need it together. The advantage of separating it in the database is then you can make a relational before that, right? Who is everybody with the last name Smith? You can search that. But here, if it's all in there, maybe. But this would be much easier. Because then you can sort, right? If you've never built a database or made an Excel file or done any of those, you should think about that. How do I put data in a box? How do I sort that data? How do I retrieve that data? With this, I know it says don't for this, but it depends on your database is what I'm trying to say. And then there again, the pull down menu doesn't work very well sometimes, especially on mobile. The tapping just doesn't work. If you only have 3 options, just go like that. Boom, tap what you want. I don't know what they're talking about here. Oh, this is an example. Put in the example in there, what you want them to put in. And then here's some of the code. Input type date, input type date time. So if it's a phone number, give them just a number option. Uh-oh, there's a slider. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them. We don't need to go through them. You should read this, though. I found it useful. There's a whole bunch of suggestions on how to make good forms there. I just put the CAPTCHA in there so you know what a CAPTCHA is. Of course, CAPTCHA came out many, many, many years ago to try and fool the bots. Back in the late 90s, people figured, hey, that's when the hackers started hacking. And so they discovered how to make bots that would just start signing people up for things automatically. So the CAPTCHA came about, and CAPTCHA stands for Complete Automated Public Turing Test, to tell computers and humans apart. And if you don't know who Turing is, just watch, what was it, Mind Games? No, not Mind Games. Imitation Games, yes. I highly recommend it. You'll cry at the end. I cried at the end. I cried at the end of Breakfast at Tiffany's, so too, right? So, you know, I cry at the end of all movies, if they're sad. So if you haven't seen Imitation Game, I recommend it over the weekend. You do that while you're doing your drawings. How about that? Just don't put your tears on the drawing. The CAPTCHA, you know, in the old days, it just kind of smeared it like this, right? But then, you know, the bots got smart and they were able to figure this out. So then, of course, one of the problems also with the CAPTCHA was, you know, what about people that can't see it, right? So then they had the audio CAPTCHA. There was an audio CAPTCHA as well, and Google introduced you all that. And then, of course, Google came out with their CAPTCHA, is that you don't need to input anything anymore. The Google CAPTCHA, reCAPTCHA, that's what I wanted to call it, reCAPTCHA. And basically Google recognizes all the data that you've been using, and it knows who you are, and it knows you're not a bot, and boom. So you can use the Google CAPTCHA if you want. Here, we'll watch the video.
If you have a website, you need to protect your users from bots. Bots are trying leaked passwords, posting spam, and scraping your content. The reCAPTCHA I'm not a robot checkbox changed the way to protect your websites, but its one-time verification doesn't fit every use case. reCAPTCHA v3 does away with the need for interactive tests and gives you a score to let you know when you have risky traffic. It never interrupts users, so you're in control of when to run risk analysis and what to do with the results. For instance, requiring email verification for risky logins, sending a spammy post to moderation, or filtering fake friend requests. Let's look at how reCAPTCHA v3 works. This is my online store. I've recently noticed a lot more traffic that wasn't turning into conversions. I was concerned that they might not be real customers, but I didn't know where they were on my site or what they were trying to do. To tackle this problem, I decided to add reCAPTCHA v3 to each major part of my site, such as when users sign in, check out, and write product reviews. For each page, I added the reCAPTCHA script tag and code snippet. Doing this gave me visibility into what the bots were doing on my site. I went to the reCAPTCHA admin console to look at the scores. It seems that these bots were posting lots of reviews. To stop the bots, I needed to verify the reCAPTCHA score on my server. Here was a bot posting a review for a competitor's cat food. Because this review received a low reCAPTCHA score, I marked it as risky and added it to a verification queue. Now the bots have been turned away, and my customers can trust the reviews that they see. So how does this work? reCAPTCHA's adaptive risk analysis.
Okay, whatever. Google gives you that info. I'm sure there's plugins. I have a CAPTCHA plugin as well. It's something that you can put in your WordPress. Even if you don't have WordPress, Google will give you the code. You just need to copy and paste. One of the things about Google is they give you a lot of things for free. The API is there. They show you where the code is, where to put it in your code, and things like that. So things like CAPTCHA and things are quite easy nowadays. And yeah, look, 1997, CAPTCHA was invented. Oh yeah, remember that? The beautiful red box. Oh yeah, there's the audio. So CAPTCHA, if you don't know what it is, you should look it up, learn a little bit more about it. The other thing I posted here on there is this one right here. These are some good videos. We'll start looking at some of the Nielsen videos. I kind of got away from them for a while, but I kind of started looking at some of them. the one I was looking at today was the job to be done versus personas, because we're doing personas now. So the new Nielsen idea here, and if you don't know who the Nielsen is, he's the Jacob Nielsen is a person, and here he writes books. I don't know if I have a Jacob. He wrote books back in the 90s. I have a Jacob Nielsen book over here. No, I don't. I had some of his books in the past. Old famous books here. I'll steal them. So and he has he has his research group, and they do consulting, right? But they also make content and put it on their website. The two that I really like or the one I really like is the writing one. And so I'll link up the writing one if you haven't seen the writing one. It's a really good one where they talk about how people read. They do a lot of research. They do a lot of analysis of people using the stuff, and they videotape them using the stuff, and then they give you some of that. They give you a little bit of the data that they discovered, and then if you want more of the data, you've got to pay them, right? That's how they make money. So they give you a little. This is their new way of doing persona. I thought it was quite interesting. It's the jobs to be done versus persona. So let's just watch this for a minute. It's like 3 minutes long. Okay, and so the idea, and I know we've been talking about personas, is that instead of just doing personas, the jobs to be done is where you have a goal, right? And you have a user, and you write up or you think about that, and not necessarily the person, but what is the goal that they want. Let's watch the video for a moment.
I get asked all the time, have jobs to be done made personas obsolete? The answer is a firm no. Okay?
Let me just point out, I got a little confused in this video because the guy starts not looking at the camera. So as far as user experience, he starts looking away and reading next to the camera. So, you would think that they could afford a teleprompter, in my mind. Sorry.
Jobs to be done are another useful tool, but they haven't killed personas. Not by far. Personas and jobs to be done are completely compatible. Jobs to be done are a fairly new framework for thinking in a user-centered way about features for products. The idea is that people hire your product to fulfill a need. And they may have hired your product for something you didn't even envision. For example, the old Henry Ford quote where he said, "If I asked my customers what they wanted, they would have asked for a faster horse." The job to be done in that situation was the need to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, not the specific way that they got there, not the form of transportation. So product teams, they'll do user research and they'll write up a list of these jobs to be done in simple, clear language, so they have them as a reference for what they should build. The thinking goes, if you can identify that real underlying need, that root cause, you can be better equipped to design something that helps satisfy the need better than you could if you were just focusing on features, demographics, or specific types of users. Based on this, I've heard a lot of people express the idea that jobs to be done are a better input for design than going by demographics and personas. But that's based on a fundamental misunderstanding. Good personas aren't focused on demographics, because those don't tell us much about user behavior. In fact, good personas don't really need much demographic information at all. Personas that are a useful tool for designers are all about users' needs, their goals, their expectations, their behaviors, and their attitudes. It's very similar to the type of information that jobs to be done can tell you. Plus, they help your team empathize with your users. I've never met a team that was burdened by too much empathy for their users. So this is really an important factor. Personas also help you to balance the needs of different users. Not everybody has the same goals and expectations for your product, so personas help you weigh competing factors and prioritize those different users' needs effectively. And finally, remember, personas and jobs to be done are 100% compatible. If you want to use both, great. You can list the top jobs to be done that apply to each persona right there on the persona. Or you can show all your jobs to be done in a big list and tag each one with all the personas that are looking to hire for those jobs. Personas give us so much additional detail about needs and goals while promoting empathy for our users. Why take that stuff away from your team? Jobs to be done are just another tool. They're like personas. They help us focus on creating useful products that meet our users' needs.
Okay, so again, there's a big kind of list here of UX design videos here. You might want to go through some of them and read them or watch them. Some of them are better than others. I was thinking that you should really have a site, and I didn't list that up on the board there, but you should have in one of your final designs at least a screen design that has some text, some written text in it, right? And how to write text and where to place text and so on, is rather important. So let's just do it anyways. Let's just do it anyways. Where is the video I want to watch? It's the writing one. This one. Chunking. I don't know. This one. Pyramid. Where's the one? It's not giving me the video I want. I did see all videos. Maybe it's such an old video. These are all too new. I'd have to go back in time. Back in time. This one. Let's watch this one. It's only 3 minutes. I find this one quite useful. She talks a lot about the F pattern and how to write for the web and the research. So let's watch this one real quick.
The F pattern, also known as the F-shaped scanning pattern, is an approach people take to reading on the web. We observe people reading this way when we do eye-tracking research, during which we use technology which enables us to see what people are fixating on, what they're looking at as they read on the web. In action, the F pattern appears to look like the letter F. So a person begins reading on the left side of a column of text, and as they read, they move to the right. And then they move back to the left, and when they move to the right, they'll read a little bit less. And they move back to the left and read a little bit less and a little bit less. And it ends up appearing to be the capital letter F, roughly. We also see the F pattern on mobile devices, but it's smaller. And in languages when people read from right to left, like Arabic, we also see the F pattern, but it's reversed. So why does the F pattern happen? It happens because people are trying to minimize the work they need to do and maximize the benefit they get from that work. For eye tracking, that means they're trying to economize on the number of fixations that they do on a page and learn the most that they can from the content that they actually do look at. Page layout also plays a major role in whether people scan in the F pattern. If we present a wall of text to users that has no formatting and isn't written for the web, they're going to find their own path through that text. And we can do things to make it much easier for people to scan text. For example, use chunking of text, use bullets, and more important than anything, use headings and subheadings within the text, and make those headings look different from normal text, larger, a different color, bolder, a different typeface. Any of these things can work. And with that, users are able to scan to the headings and decide if those words are things that they're interested in. And if they are, they'll read the normal text below it. And if not, they'll read to the next heading. And that's a different pattern that we see people revealing when they read on the web. And I like to call that one the layer cake pattern. I was hungry when I named that one. It resembles a layer cake with the frosting and the cake. So layer cake is a good pattern. F pattern is one that can and should be avoided.
What? She just said she liked the F pattern. Now she says she avoided the F pattern. I don't understand her last statement, but whatever. You should think about when you're making your content, think about how people view and read the content. And so, you know, upper left side, I think last class we were talking, oh, look at the logo is up here, you know. Well, that's reinforcing that I know where I'm at. Once I know where I'm at, where do I go next? Right? I think, you know, that was my discussion last class. So if you have time, you know, you don't want to watch the Raiders again, there's some link here from Nielsen videos right here. This one's not very good. So I pushed these ones down here. So let's look at some forms real quick. Google. What was I Googling? I was searching hiking in Bay Area. And SFGate comes up a lot. I don't know why SFGate comes up a lot. So again, this is a newspaper. First thing they write again is to pop up their thing. What do you guys think about pop-ups like this? What's that? I hate pop-ups. It's another thing I have to do before I get to the content. It's almost like the login and search. But they're a newspaper and it's in your face. Of course, you know, you see them at you know, when you go to a fair or something, they have the Chronicle guy and he's always there. It's the same guy too. You ever notice that? It's the same Chronicle guy always there. I think they only have one guy who goes to all the fairs. But you know, he you know. So if I click the Chronicle, how much does it cost? Uh-oh. Here we go. Now I'm faced with three options here. Best unlimited digital access. Do I need digital access? Isn't it free online? Isn't everything free online? 99 cents for the first 3 months. That's pretty cheap. 99. Oh, that's $99. I went from 99 cents to $99. Look at that. Do you see that? That's confusing. Like if you didn't know what this symbol meant, and then this symbol, you know, you would think that that's the same. Whoosh. That's a little misleading, isn't it? Let's see about the Sunday delivery. No, I can't get Sunday delivery. No, I guess I can't. Maybe I'm no.
It tells you right below. I don't know how you get it.
Oh, that's not very good. Okay, that's pretty bad. Whatever. I wanted to go to let's see. Sierra Club. Yeah, the Sierra Club website has some good examples of connecting using form. Oh, look at that. I have to donate? Where's my... Oh, look at it. They put the X all the way up there. Looks like I have to donate right now. Okay, let's look at their form. So they got a big long box. The boxes are all the same. They got big boxes up here to tell me how much. Uh-oh. Look, really? I have to go like this? What if I wanted to donate $85? I have to go like this? Can I type in 85? Oh, I guess I could. Okay. What do you think of the green ugly box around the thing? I guess that's their color, right? Sierra green. Donate in blue. Make it a monthly. I'm going to pay $85 every month. Wow. What do you think of the little gestural arrow pointing in there? Is this cool? Does it work for you? Does the state box need to be this big? Doesn't even work. Well, there it goes. It pops up. Do we need to include the name of the state? Or people don't know the MA is Massachusetts?
There's like 8 M states. Some people get confused.
Okay.
I saw someone put MI for Maine.
Oh, Maine is not MI.
I know.
Michigan.
I
There
know.
we- Okay, but
That's why I'm like, people are dumb. They need the extra help.
and then of course the country one is here. And then of course you got to put your. What about responsive? It just shrinks everything down. So one of your designs, I want you to have some kind of input. It could be just some kind of simple input. Let's look at some other ones. The other ones I was looking at was for even here at West Valley, the input for Canvas. Okay, let's look at this for just a minute. This is one that you deal with every day. Hopefully you deal with it every day. Some of us don't read our emails or look at Canvas at all, do we? What do you think of the dark color background with the input boxes being bright like this? What do you think of that? This is very common compared to the light background with the box.
Sure makes it easy to see where to put your info.
I think the key here is that they're doing this for people that are in a bright area, right? And they're doing it for mobile. I know we're on a computer, but if you go to the Canvas link on your phone, you know, it's awful hard to see small. So, you know, the idea here, and in fact, what they're doing now, the new West Valley website is coming out. And I was talking to the webmaster yesterday. His name is Daniel. And me and him were talking about a new website and things like that. They're going to give you the option of using a light version of the West Valley website or a dark version. There's a button you click. And the feature and the reason why we're doing that is so that people don't have to struggle to see it. In a very bright area, something dark like this with lighter area might be easier to read than in a dark area. You know what I'm trying to say? It depends on the area. They're trying to give people options. And he says that's the newest trend. And in fact, every website is going towards that. That you offer the option of having light and dark version. And he was explaining that it's not that hard. You're just adjusting, and it's being built into the browser as well. That the browser, and then the other key feature is storing data. Yes?
Usually the dark background is called night mode, and it's used for when you're looking at it at night, so the bright lights aren't going right into your eyeballs.
There you go. So night mode versus day mode. So you know that he says that is, you know, the new trend that all websites are going towards that direction. One reason why is the browsers are building it into them, and the other reason, and then the other trend he said is how to store data. So getting away from storing data and cookies and that, because of course what am I trying to say, the European Union law, right, of storing data. So instead of storing data in cookies or other ways that we would store user data, it's being stored actually in the browser itself. I don't know how he was explaining it to me. I didn't understand quite that. Those are kind of the trends. It'll be out. They want it already by Thanksgiving, but I told him not to. I said he was going to a meeting with the president, and I said, tell the president it's better to not launch the website over Thanksgiving because finals are coming out. And if the website breaks, students are going to be stressed. And I said, don't do the change over Thanksgiving. You don't want the students more stressed than they are already. So just wait till Christmas. There's the holiday time, right? Then you got more time. 2 or 3 weeks to fix any problems. So hopefully, I don't know. I told him, say, hey, tell the president stress. No stress. Students don't need extra stress. Why would you launch a website in the middle of the semester, right? I don't know. They want to see progress, though, you know. The president's all about progress. We want to see progress. Again, they got feedback where you roll over and it changes color. See that? Okay, very useful feedback. Some other feedback, look, flashing at you. Start here, right? The red lines indicate where you need to put the things, right? Forgot your password with the underline, little question mark. Hey, I'm confused. You know, a lot of little details, and that's what I'm trying to, and the reason why I'm pointing these out is that I want you to think about these when you're building your interfaces, okay? Details are very important. Size. If we're on a desktop computer, it doesn't stretch all the way across. Okay? This is almost mobile size, isn't it? Right? So, you know, you don't have to, and there's a lot of really little details. Color difference. Click here to test your single sign-on ready. Did anybody try the single sign-on readiness? No? Okay, let me stop talking now. This is what I want us to do for the last 20 minutes, 15 minutes, is I want you to finish your working on your thing. I need you to take a picture of it before you leave, too, to put it in your proposal. But I want you to explain it to another student in class. I want you to walk around and ask your friend. Right? You need to help each other here. I know some of you aren't here today, I know that, but, you know, I know we're talking about this when you're not here. But, you know, ask your friend. Ask your friend. What is going on here? Am I seeing? Ask somebody. Come over here and say, who made this one? Okay. Somebody go and ask her. What is this? Go listen to her talk. Talk to each other. Change it if you have to. Just by talking to this student, I was able to say, hey, you know, don't give me this stumbling block, right? She might not have thought of that until I asked her that, right? So ask each other. You got 20 minutes till Jean comes. Make sure you take a picture, and make sure you do the things over the weekend. Do your drawing, make your personas. We don't have a lot of time left. I'll definitely this weekend come up with a schedule for you so that you complete by time. I know I haven't given you a schedule. Last night in the advisory board, like, give them deadlines and make sure they follow them. You barely get you to come to class on time. Okay? And if you haven't made a sticker thing yet, like some of us haven't here, I give you stickers. You come up with your idea. Maybe help him if somebody wants to help Alex here. There's some yellow ones. You want color ones too? Multiple colors for different levels. There's green. There you got three. You got 3 levels. Oh yeah. I have different colors for you. You can have a orange one, and you can have a pink one, and a yellow one. Quickly make it. And there's some markers over here as well somewhere. I had markers, so that you're not just using a little pen. Use a marker so it's thick and you can see. Look at this marker compared to a pen. You can see it easier. Okay. So think about seeing. Revise what you've done. I had markers here. Oh, they're in the bag, I think. I think I put the markers back in it, and there's one right here. Here's a marker. You got one? Okay. No thin things. Thick. Oh, did we cover yours? Oh, we found it. Okay. There you go. I would revise this a little bit more if you could. Give me, maybe these ones. One to a separate one. I'll make these thicker. Do it again. Here, leave you stuff. And a marker. Look, see how nice the marker one thick is? You can see it easier. Let's see what we got here. Oh, here I got markers in here. So nice thick. You can. And do different colors for the different levels. We got pink, yellow, and there's a few green ones there, maybe, or blue, maybe for the bottom level. But think of levels, right? Well, you have a home page, right? Then you have like a linking page, and then you have a content page. You almost have 3 levels there.
Okay.
Can you draw that up?
Yeah, like,
If you need more index cards, they're in the bag. Make sure you take a picture before you go.
I'm gonna go to the restroom, I'll be right back. There you go. Maybe a little drawing, maybe what it looks like. Like little boxes, see how some of them have little boxes maybe?